in the summer of 1978. A plumber working under Building 4 of the old Coldwater Asylum cracked open a wall, and what he found should have been the headline of every newspaper in America. The Coldwater State Home was founded in 1878 on a stretch of quiet land in Branch County, Michigan, the kind of place where you couldn't hear anything but the wind in the trees and the occasional church bell. The institution was created to house feeble-minded children, but no one truly questioned what that meant. Parents were told their children would be raised in a Christian environment, educated, and rehabilitated. But in truth, Coldwater became a place where the forgotten were buried long before death. The home was run by a coalition of Protestant and Catholic overseers, a rare collaboration in 19th century America. They believed they were purifying the souls of the children through strict religious structure, confession, and in some cases, exorcism. The public called it progressive. Internally, staff called it the Garden of Purity. But Coldwater kept secrets sealed in brick and stone. By 1912, rumors began to surface that children were disappearing from the home, not dying, disappearing. Official ledgers quietly removed names. Parents who inquired were told their children had relapsed and been transferred to private care. No locations were ever provided. One of the nurses, a young woman named Clara Mears, kept a hidden journal between the pages of a hymnal. Her entries were brief but chilling. A boy named Eli screamed through all 3 masses today. Father Byrne said he'd been touched by flame and took him to the East Wing. I've never seen him again. They buried Sister Helena's habit this morning, but never mentioned her name at breakfast. The south staircase leads nowhere. Children say it ends in a locked red door. I've never been allowed past it. No records mention a red door. In 1975, nearly 100 years after its opening, the Coldwater facility was partially demolished. But Building 4, the oldest section, remained standing, boarded up, and unacknowledged. Even blueprints of the home made in the 1940s leave that wing blank. In 1978, contractors began rerouting pipes under the old foundation. That's when Eugene Kramer, a maintenance worker from Lansing, made the discovery that would never see public daylight. According to his affidavit, he noticed hollow echoes behind the wall near a rusted drain in Building 4. Thinking it was an old crawl space, he broke through with a crowbar. What he found was a sealed stone room, about 15 by 15 feet, with rotting pews, a makeshift altar, and a crucifix bolted upside down into the wall. There were scratch marks on the bricks, not animal scratches, but words, etched in tiny, almost childlike script. St. Michael didn't come. I burned for nothing. They said it was God's test. He never answered. Room 44 is hell. This is hell. There was no room 44 listed on any floor plan. In the corner was a small mound of bone fragments, later confirmed by Michigan State University to be remains of at least 7 children, aged 6 to 12. The corner bore a symbol, painted in blood, a twisted crucifix, combined with the Hebrew letter, Mem. It's a symbol associated with Mimavet, from death, a Kabbalistic invocation often used in exorcism rituals. In 1981, 3 years after the chamber was found, a man named David Mears, a local historian, published a limited run book titled Saints in Silence, Hidden Horrors of Coldwater Asylum. He claimed to be the grandson of Nurse Clara Mears, and published scans of her hidden hymnal entries. The book was pulled from circulation 2 months later. Why? Because it included a floor plan from 1882, one that included room 44. According to that map, room 44 was below Building 4, but not beneath it, within the structure's central wall. A space built with no doors, only accessible by removing the exterior bricks. The forgotten room was not an accident. It was a deliberate chamber of penance. From oral testimonies of 2 surviving staff members interviewed in 1992, both of whom chose anonymity, it's clear the purpose of room 44 was religious punishment. Children deemed possessed, rebellious, or sinful were taken to that sealed room as part of a ritual known internally as the cleansing silence. One of the nuns, Sister Agatha, reportedly believed that God spoke only in silence, and that true confession required absolute abandonment, without sound, without time, without prayer, just suffering. Those who didn't return were said to have transcended. Staff were taught to say they'd been reclaimed by heaven. No one was punished. No inquiry ever made it past the diocese. In 1998, just months before Building 4 was set to be converted into a state museum, it burned to the ground in a mysterious electrical fire. The city blamed faulty wires, but the fire began in a building that had no power for 20 years. Local firefighter George Miller stated in a now-redacted interview that the fire spread from within a wall cavity, specifically beneath the East Crucifix. He said, "It felt like the wall was breathing, like the heat came from something alive." Today, if you walk the grounds of the Coldwater State Home, nothing remains of Building 4 but scorched foundation stones. Locals say that on summer nights, if you press your ear to the ground, you'll hear a bell, faint, rhythmic, metallic dot. But here's the terrifying part. Coldwater had no bells, not on Building 4, not in the chapel, not even in the old clock tower. So where is the sound coming from, and what still rings beneath the dirt?